of this storm. He did want to make sure viewers know this is still going to be a major water and major wind system here in Gulf County in the greater Port St. Joe area. We also wanted to remind people, just because of this small turn to the east, all of the evacuation notices for Gulf County are still in effect. That's for Indian Pass, that's for Cape San Blas, that's for Simmons Bayou. That's going to be for the majority of downtown Port St. Joe as well. Those are still in effect. Please pay attention to the EOC of Gulf County's website and their socials for when, after the storm passes, you might be able to come back into town. So this area is going to be affected, and that is why those evacuation notices are still going to stay effective. And stay tuned to News Channel 7 for our continuous storm coverage, including from right here in Port St. Joe. I'm Austin Maida.
Thank you, Austin. And we will check back with our Bay County team in just a bit. But now we head to Wakulla County, where another mandatory evacuation has been enacted for the entire county. And Stacey Inez reports.
I'm Stacey Inez, and we're down in Wakulla County today, specifically the St. Mark's area. And it's really been a ghost town for the most part. Earlier in the morning, people were taking their boats and getting out of town. But as we've been around during the afternoon hours, very quiet, not a lot going on. People have already evacuated. I've talked to several people who say they're just not taking any chances with this storm. A lot of people trying to get their boats out of the water. The few businesses that are right down here in the St. Mark's area are clearing everything out, packing things up. One business did say they were going to stay open a little bit later just in case anybody needs any last minute things. But for the most part, not a lot of people, not a lot of activity. Everyone I've spoken to today so far says they do have plans to leave because they're just worried that this storm is going to be very serious. I spoke to some people who survived Hurricane Michael and thought back to Hurricane Michael, Idalia, Debbie. They just have seen how many storms have come through the general Big Bend area. And so they don't want to be on the wrong side of that if things do get bad. And of course, St. Mark's is right here on the river, so that's something that people are concerned about. But for the most part, being around town today has been very quiet, very eerie in a sense with the amount of people that are not here. But on the other hand, a good thing for people who are taking it seriously and going somewhere else to be out of that path of the storm.
Thank you, Stacey. And we've got continued team coverage on the hurricane coming up. Stay with us for the latest.
And Helene, of course, a Category 2 hurricane. Wind speeds gradually increasing, still up to 105 miles per hour with central pressure of 960 millibars. The storm, fortunately for us, continuing off towards the north-northeast. It's feeling the influence from an upper-level trough and being steered off closer towards the Big Bend region of Florida. You can see the rain showers out there right now. We'll talk about how impacts will worsen as we get through the rest of this afternoon and evening. Way up towards the state of Florida, gradually strengthening still as well. A visible satellite really telling an interesting story for us here this morning. Once the sun rose, you could really see how clouds began bubbling up around the core of this system. And at times we've seemed to start trying to punch out an eye wall that's better defined right there, although towards the bottom of your screen, it's still fighting off some dry air at the moment. Hasn't made significant impacts, or at least enough to limit the strengthening towards a steadier level here. But we have at least maybe held off from some of the worst predictions that we saw yesterday from the NHC, had that dry air not limited things earlier on through the morning hours today. Still a lot of thunderstorm activity wrapping around this storm, so there are signs that we're going to work our way up towards a stronger system here shortly, and that should be no surprise as it moves over the very warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, generally unimpeded as it moves northward. We could even see some influence from that upper level trough to help fire even more thunderstorms here on the northern side. One of the reasons why we're forecasting so much rainfall into parts of Franklin County and over towards the Tallahassee area with this system. The wind field from a large system like this, large as well. You notice this system right now, 105-mile-per-hour winds. However, that's a tight core of hurricane force winds here in red, but the tropical storm force winds basically extending all the way across the Florida Peninsula, even across northwest Florida, back towards 231, a chance that we see tropical storm force wind gusts of 39 miles per hour or stronger. The track has changed just a little bit since we talked about this storm on the 5:30 show yesterday on WECP. We've seen that nudge towards the east once again. Yesterday, the talk was all about that westward shift of the track, or the center point as we got towards landfall. However, now we're once again looking a little bit closer towards Taylor County or towards Jefferson County as the worst impacts for this storm. And that cone, of course, tightening up a lot more now with the forecast error much lower, less than 12 hours away from landfall. So as we move through landfall here, definitely tropical storm force wind gusts still likely across Liberty, Calhoun, into Franklin, Gulf County. Franklin County could still see some near hurricane force winds, but this track change has improved the outlook for our area pretty significantly, thanks to that added north-northeasterly motion that we started to fire off through the overnight hours last night. The storm will move quickly inland as well, so don't expect lasting impacts here across the area. We might see that landfall happening late this afternoon or early evening, and only a few short hours later is it off towards Georgia, and we're starting to dry things out pretty quickly. Until then, still expect some significant impacts across Franklin County. Everybody should be already moving out of the area or hunkering down here as you get towards the eastern panhandle. Power outages are still likely, I think, even if we don't muster up those winds of 74 miles per hour or stronger. Saturated ground, it won't take as high of a wind speed for us to knock down trees on power lines and cause some big issues here in this region. Deadly storm surge expected along the Forgotten Coast as well. As you head back further west, 30 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts is probably the highest we'll top out. It'll be breezy and maybe uncomfortable feeling this afternoon, but we generally should be pretty safe as long as we stay indoors from especially Bay County, kind of 231 on towards the west. And as mentioned, this storm's a quick mover, so its impacts will come quickly later this afternoon. Start expecting conditions to worsen pretty quickly by 2 or 3. It'll move out equally quickly, and things will look a whole lot nicer heading into this weekend.
Yes, and you mentioned power outages, and we just took a look online, and already about 600 customers in Washington County are experiencing some power outages. So just stay safe, guys.
I definitely expect this afternoon, as that storm gets closer to the peninsula and closer to landfall as well, we'll probably add several zeros to that statewide in terms of power outages, just because of the scale of impacts across Florida.
Sounds like it's time to hunker down. Thank you so much, Dan. And we've got reporters on standby in multiple areas around the Panhandle as we brace for Helene. We'll get live reports as soon as we come back. Stay with us.
Close my door. I just, but I think.
Bye. How's it looking, Marissa?
Candace, I'm here in Mexico Beach at the El Governor Resort, and lineman trucks are filling up the parking lot. These trucks are from Jacksonville, and some of the workers have told us that they will be riding out the storm in the area and then traveling to Gulf County or wherever they be needed to assist residents. Now, there are at least a dozen trucks in the parking lot. Some are across the street over there, and some are underneath the awning. So now Mexico Beach could be seeing 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So these trucks will be available in case power needs to be restored in the area. And we will continue to track Helene and have live coverage throughout the day. In Mexico Beach, Marissa Jure, News Channel 7.
Thank you so much, Marissa. And we'll have more live reports when we come back.
All in one app.
Bay County emergency responders have also been closely monitoring Helene's path. Now we go live to Dekevion Goss, who is at the EOC. And we are experiencing some technical difficulties there. We apologize for that. We'll get back to Kiwi in a bit here. For now, let's go to break. Emergency Operations Center in Bay County.
Yes, I'm standing here at the Bay County Emergency Operations Center with Chief Matt Lindworth. Kind of talk to me about how we're preparing here in Bay County for the storm.
Yeah, so what we've got is we've got the Emergency Operations Center at a level 1 activation. Basically what that does is that brings all of the different emergency services partners throughout the county, also all of the public works, all of the different law enforcement agencies, public officials, elected officials. We all get into kind of an operations center or a command center. And then we go through all the different options. We look at the storm tracks. We make sure that everything is ready to keep the citizens safe. And then we make decisions on what's the best course of action based on the information that we have.
What decisions are we looking at with the information that we have right now?
So we're not going to open up any shelters. As of right now, the storm has shifted to the right, which is good for Bay County. And so we don't have a need to be able to right now to stand up a shelter. What we are looking at is we've doubled our ambulance capability on the roads. We brought in all of our shifts, all of our personnel. And what we've also done is made sure that we've pre-staged them and public works and being able to, clear roads, things like that. Biggest concern that you're going to see out there is flooding and down trees and stuff like that from wind.
Okay, that's a blessing for us, but other counties around us won't be so fortunate. What is our plan towards them?
Just like they helped us in Michael, we're going to return that favor. So when they call, we're going to be sending different assets out there. We're ready to send, fire trucks, tankers. We are the regional hazmat team. And so we're able to send 9 personnel in our hazmat capabilities. And then what we'll do is we'll get backfilled by Escambia County so that they can push that way.
So it's a lot of neighbors helping neighbors here.
It is. It's community effort, but it's a community regional effort. And I mean, we've got people that are coming up from Miami-Dade helping. It truly brings everyone together. These are the times when what your people are worth when it comes together. And the biggest thing that I want Bay County to know is that we have rock stars that work for us, not only within the county, but also out there with the municipalities and stuff. They wouldn't have a better group of people helping them.
I understand. But now I'm not from here. I'm from Kentucky. But one thing I noticed when I moved to Florida was there's a lot of love here. A lot of love here. And it seems like when tragedy strikes, everyone works together to get the best solution possible. But reporting live in Bay County Emergency Operations Center, back to you guys.
And it's good to see everyone being prepared and being ready for what's to come. Of course, we've already seen some of the roads looking really wet on the way in to work today, and probably not going to get any better.
Yeah, definitely down towards Franklin County right now. We saw AJ Smith and Apalachicola pointing out some of the flooded roadways there. Flash flood warning still in effect at this time. As you see this Helene moving towards the northeast, still tornado warnings now across parts of Georgia into South Carolina. For us, the severe weather threat should start coming to an end as the storm moves further towards the east. However, heavy rain banding continuing to move in across the area. It's ever so gradually shifting towards the west, and it's something we'll have to watch closely here through the rest of the afternoon and evening hours. A high risk of excessive rainfall with a potential for flash flooding from about Highway 79 on towards the east. Our model's pointing towards 4 to 5 inches of rainfall, but isolated pockets of up to 10 are possible.
Wow, definitely have to be careful. Thank you for watching and stay up with us later on today.